Well, hey guys and gals, I'm Andy Asher. I'm at bloomerboomer.com, and today we are going to take a look at a worldwide movement, that actually questions how we achieve happiness. Different take on it. Now check it out, because they argue against, the traditional ideas that happiness is about fitting in with everyone else. Instead, it questions whether people do in fact need change to change themselves, and whether the key to being happy is creating a life that supports differences. Okay? I think you'll get it a little clearer in just a moment. In her best-selling book, Pragmatic Psychology, Susanna Mittermaier writes, it's about empowering you to know that what you already know what is right for you, and about creating a life that works for you. Interesting. We'll talk to Susanna from her home in Austria in just a moment. I'm Andy Asher. I'm editor over here at Bloomer Boomer. And if you like what we're doing, hey, please follow us on your favorite social media. And to hear more about what's coming up, you can visit us over at bloomerboomer.com. And now, Pragmatic Psychology, Susanna Mittermaier. Hey, Susanna, it's great having you here, and it sounds like I say, it sounds like a fascinating topic. I'd love to hear more about it.
Thank you so much for having me. Yep, all the way from Austria. Um, you
It's great
know,
what we can do today, isn't it?
yeah, it's just wonderful. In times of, not connecting, we actually connect, What
We
else
really
is
do. We really do. Now, we all have to be a little more flexible about our time zones. They begin to be kind of meaningless after a while, don't they?
totally.
Well, tell us a
Yeah.
little bit. Tell us a little bit about. Well, it's not a little bit. Let's start at the beginning. I guess. We're talking about folks to live a full life after 55 is what our kind of messages, if you will. Tell me about yourself, and how you arrived at writing your book, and also how you found a different message for your patients. And you're, I guess, a practicing psychologist, as I understand it. So go ahead and fill that out for me a little bit.
Absolutely. So I started out in Sweden actually as a psychologist, and I worked in child oncology and then later in psychiatry. And I met all these people with so-called diagnosis. Very many different kinds of diagnosis, and the perspective that was handed to me from other colleagues and doctors was okay, like this hopeless perspective of, okay, there's something that's not really good about them, right about these people, so we need to fix them. And so when I met, these so-called non-fixable people, I I I had a hard time seeing the problem. All I saw was people who function different, who see the world in a different way. And I could not see what's wrong about that. So I was asking, okay, so what's right about this? Is this something that actually could be turned from an incapacity into a capacity, And can we harness the difference as a resource? And this is through those questions, this so called pragmatic psychology was created. Pragmatic means doing what works. And most of the times we tend to be more dramatic, and we look at what doesn't work, and we look at why things are not working in our lives, and getting all crazy in our heads because we try to figure out what's wrong and why. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy most of the time. And so with this different approach, it's about, okay, how am I different? What gift is that, and how can I use this to create my future? So
And it
this
sounds like
is
that discovery that you've made, or that has been made, is that a lot of people must feel a certain sense of relief, maybe knowing that they aren't, going the wrong direction. That must be a sense of relief for folks who've come to see you.
Absolutely. And that's exactly like you say, this, okay, so I'm not wrong. I am not my diagnosis. This is something that, describes some of the things that I'm experiencing, but it's not who I am. And I am who, like, this discovery, who am I beyond this? And like in the first, like what I always see is like the first moments when somebody gets a diagnosis, it is a little bit of a relief because people go, oh, now it's an explanation of why I've been always so weird and so different. But then after that moment of, oh, okay, now I get an answer, that answer actually becomes a limitation because you use it as a, oh, this is who I am, rather than, okay, this is something that I now got an explanation for, but let's not stop the journey. Let's continue the journey. Like, what is possible with this? Who am I beyond this? And maybe even I can discover that a diagnosis is actually, it's a compliment. It's a award, kind of, like, because it shows you, okay, you are different. But now the next step would be to find out, how are you different and how can you use it?
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, how you got to where you're at. As a psychologist, you found that you were being advised to show patients how to fix the problem, I guess, fix the parts of themselves, that were making it hard for them to find happiness, you might say, and fit into the society. Okay, I really am fascinated to hear how you look at that now.
Right now, it's not about fixing anymore.
That's what
It's
that's what I that's what I
Yeah,
gathered.
yeah, exactly. Because people who say, oh, I have this and this going on in my life, whatever area it is, relationship, body, you name it. They always think it's about fixing. I have to do something to make myself better. But if you have the point of view, I need to fix myself, or I need to fix someone else, then you function from a judgment. You have decided that you're wrong or the other person is wrong. And that judgment is like a filter in front of your eyes. You don't see anything else that doesn't fit that very judgment. So it's like when you start looking at your body and you go, oh my God, I gained weight. That's like probably every time you look at your body, that's the only thing you see.
Yeah.
So it's like that's like this thing, that the filter in front of your eyes. And so it's not about fixing. It's not about fixing what's wrong. It's about asking, okay, what's right here and what's possible here, and just like turning like this so-called problem of, this is what I need to fix, into a possibility. And the first step is to, like, okay, I can put it in a different way. So every problem is actually a possibility with a point of view attached, or a judgment attached. If you remove that, what's left is the possibility. So this is like, for example, with the body, if you want to change your body, you can't change it from judging it. You can't change it from every day saying, oh my God, you're so fat, you look ugly. That doesn't work. Oh, I have to work out to remove the fat. That's not really how we're designed. That's not what really creates change. Changing your body, or whatever part of your life is, or if we take the body as an example, it's like, what fun can I have? Body, show me what movement is fun for me. Maybe it's dancing. And then, people who then start dancing, for example, who find that fun, they realize, oh, the side effect is changing shape. And it's not from judgment, it's from the possibility of it. Because once you remove the judgment, all that's left is the possibility.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for non-judgment, isn't there?
Definitely. I mean, this whole world is about judgment. I mean, most people probably can't even imagine to not judge every day, uh, positive or negative. That's taking up so much time and energy right now.
It really is. Well, let's focus this for a moment on the Bloomer Boomer community, and talk a little bit about how pragmatic psychology would work in our life as we look forward to the changes and the transitions as we get older. And you can say, well, there's absolutely no difference, but anyway, I thought I would just see if there is an application or anything that relates to that.
Well, when the numbers in age are, increasing, then I mean, there's so many projections and judgments of what should occur, with the body or with your energy level or with your lifestyle. It's like, people are used to adapt to their age group. That's what you do when you become 50. That's how your body functions when you become 60. That's what you're not possible. That's what's not possible for you when you're 70. And all of these are like preset points of view and judgments and projections that if you're not present with yourself, you probably go, oh, okay, that's the way it is. Okay, cool. Now I'm turning 60. Now this and this is going to happen. And your point of view creates your reality. So the invitation here is, don't just buy what's being handed to you as that's the way it is. Start asking questions like, who does this belong to? Is this really something that is necessarily my world? Like my grandmother, for example, she got to 100 years, and she, like, I was so stunned because she didn't have the point of view that her body should not work. She was, I think the English word is agile. She was full of energy. She was always ready for adventure until a very, very, very high age. And every time we visited her up until 99, she said, what are we going to do today? Are we gonna have an adventure? Are we gonna go for, whatever fun thing? And that was her perspective, and that created her reality. She did not buy the point of view that, now I'm 80, now I'm 90, now I'm supposed to have less energy or my body should fail. And that was a very high factor of how she created her life and her body. And I admire that, and it's so obvious. Like, I'm here in the countryside in Austria. Usually I live in Vienna, and I see people here who are 30 who like walk like a, I don't know, 80-year-old, because they've decided, now I'm 30, now everything goes downhill. And that's because that point of view is so prevalent in that area here. It's like, okay, now you're 30, now you do this, now you're 40, now you do this. And then they go, okay, cool, that's the way it is. They don't question it. They just buy it and make it theirs.
Yeah,
And
you've just
yeah,
said everything about what Bloomer Boomer is here to do, is to bring the opportunities for what it is to have a meaningful life after 55, and it's not one of those that has to be defined for them. Giving that there are opportunities out there, and
yeah,
they're available.
yeah, exactly. And if you keep asking questions, hey, what else is available for me that I have not considered, then you broaden your horizon. You see things you haven't seen before, and you go, okay, what else can I add to my life? And this reality tells you you should subtract things. You should have less things the older you get. I say no. Like, add, what else can I add to my life? And I have a friend, he's called Gary Douglas. We wrote a book together, and he's over 70, and he has, I can't even count how many businesses that man has. He's incredible, and his point of view is, what else can I add to my life? And the inspiration he is to so many people is just wonderful.
That is so neat. Yeah, I had a question I was going to ask you, but let me just kind of make an observation, I guess. And I'm going to say, what you talk about seems, really simple, and it seems logical, but how the mental health profession looks at things probably is somewhat different than the logic that I hear. But don't you kind of see the logic to what you're talking about?
Yeah, and it's the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
Life shouldn't be complicated. It's the simplicity of it. And it's like you say, this part of our world, like, is mental health and psychology, it oftentimes still has a big value in being complicated. And I have a different point of view here. Yes.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about Pragmatic Psychology, the book, and anything else that might be pertinent.
Cool. So there are actually two pragmatic psychology books out. There's one called Pragmatic Psychology: Practical Tools for Being Crazy Happy. It's the beginning of it. Just gives you countless of tools, new perspective, inspirations of how can I create a pragmatic life? How can I make my life work for me? And it also touches some diagnosis, but it's mostly for anybody. I mean, my hairdresser, she goes, oh, sometimes people annoy me, so how can I have ease? And she opens a page and she goes, oh, got a new perspective, things are getting easier. And then and then we have the new book that's with the friend I talked about, Gary Douglas. It's the Advanced Pragmatic Psychology, and it's it's not because it's advanced. We just had fun naming it that way. And it's actually more about creating a life on planet Earth without upset, drama, trauma, intrigue, the things that are so normal here, especially now. It seems like there's nothing else we could choose, but there actually is. And this is what the book is inviting to.
And where can people pick that up?
Oh gosh, nowadays so many, things. There's all the
Amazon,
places.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
Yeah.
there's this page called advancedpragmaticpsychology.com where you get all the places and things where there's so many internet platforms nowadays.
Okay. Okay. Well, hey, this has been fascinating, inspiring, and a lesson for me, and I'm glad we shared some time together.
Me too. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Susanna, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we want to thank everybody for watching today. And if you want to get more information after speaking to Susanna Mittermaier and her book, Pragmatic Psychology, you can find out more at Facebook and at YouTube and here at bloomerboomer.com. Till next time, so long.